Zambia, a landlocked country in the southern part of Africa, where the average life expectancy at birth is 38 years old. A country where 1 in every 9 children dies, never seeing their 5th birthday. Zambia is one of the poorest nations in all the world. %80 of Zambians earn less than $1 a day. Though the majority of the country professes some form of Christianity, their spiritual need is equally as great. This summer, a small group of students from Fellowship Baptist College had the opportunity to travel to Zambia and witness many of these needs firsthand. The group was hosted by Pastor David Barnhouse and his family.
When I came home from my 5th trip to Africa, I really felt the Lord tugging my heart that it was time to come here. A major concern of ours was we just moved into our 2nd new building. Our mortgage was $750,000. And the last thing I wanted to do as a pastor was leave them with that. And I prayed with a pastor friend who's now my pastor, Kurt Skelly. I went to his office. I was preaching chapel for him. He, out of the blue that day, just asked me when I was going to go to Africa. I didn't plan on telling him. And so I confided in him, let him know what was going on. And we talked about, you know, how the transition would go at our church, the difficulties behind that, and just my burden of not wanting to leave that debt behind. And I jokingly said, if you'll give me $1 million, I can get out of here and go to the mission field. And that's exactly what happened. It was 6 weeks later on a Sunday morning that there was a check in our offering plate for $600,000. And 3 weeks later, another one for $400,000. Half of it was designated to building, the other half was designated to missions. And God just opened a huge door after that. You know, when you visit us in Africa and you come specifically to Zambia, when you meet the people we live in, they look just like the town people. There's not a whole lot of difference on face value, but the more that you live here, the more that you understand that there is a side to the bush that they still struggle with. Like if I were to pick up a chameleon and try to hand it to one of the guys, when I first came here, they'd take off running. I remember preaching during an Easter service and actually put one of those chameleons in my mouth to show them that it wouldn't hurt me. And one of the guys came up to me afterwards and said he honestly thought I was going to die. He was shaking because he was told his whole life that they're poisonous. If they bite you, they'll change colors and die. And these people look just like me and you. You wouldn't know that they carry this baggage. It was at the tail end of last year. One of our pastors, Pastor Ackham, he had been praying that the Lord would give him a little girl. He has 3 little boys. There was a death in one of the villages. A mom, I think she was having her 7th child. She died in childbirth. There was a visiting pastor from Indiana out here with me. He did the funeral. At the funeral, the dad walked up. He could not take care of this baby. He could not buy formula. He had too many children already. He lived way in the bush, and he asked us to take the baby. And we were not set up for that yet. And Pastor Ackham stepped forward and he adopted that little baby. And to watch one of my national pastors, for him, that's another mouth to feed. When that baby gets sick, that money's coming out of his pocket when he goes to the hospital. And to watch him do that, and to watch a tear roll down his cheek as he felt for that little baby. And then now the little baby's almost a year old, and to watch that little thing smile, and Vivian take that little baby to church and treat that little one just like it's her own, to watch that happen in a national family, knowing the amount of money it's going to take to raise that little girl, that was a huge blessing.
The Barnhouses work with 13 churches, as well as a group of native pastors in the bush. Many of these pastors have very personal testimonies about how God has changed their lives, testimonies of true faith in seeing God meet their needs.
Then my wife was shocked. She said, "I can't believe this. How can things happen like this?" I said, "God saw God."
Every time we have a group come out, it helps us do things that we could not do on our own. When we have a group out on Sunday, we can go to several bush churches. By myself, I can only go to one. There's always construction projects that go on here as we begin to fix the place up, and there's always a need for that. And it's a blessing to watch God work in the lives of the people that come here and visit, and watching God get a hold of their heart and them take this home. And it's going to be neat to see where God takes this. Whether they come back here or not, they will always have a piece of the mission field in their heart.
Please continue to pray for the country of Zambia and the Barnhouse family as they labor to see lives changed throughout the bush of Zambia.